Hi, my name is Paola Zamudio. I'm the founder of NPZ Style and Decor, and I'm also the creative director and lead designer at Bellworks. My career path was always in the creative field. I love everything from art, music, dance, architecture, films. I love always creative stuff. I remember painting since I was very little, and then I fell in love with fashion. As you know, I love all these magazines, Vogue, the big magazines, and my dream was to become something in fashion. I didn't know what, but I wanted to be in the fashion industry. So I went to school for actually for broadcasting, for communications, because I thought, you know, I could be like maybe a reporter or something. I loved it. I went to school in Barry University in Miami, Florida. It was great. I also love musical theater, which is, you know, kind of random, but I just love music, you know, and I did my minor in musical theater and my major in broadcasting, and I love those years. I graduated, and at the moment it was really hard to find a job in broadcasting, so I started to intern in an interior design firm in Miami, Florida, and I loved it. I fell in love with the way the designers were putting together finishes and the lookbooks and the mood boards, and I just thought, hey, this is kind of like fashion but for spaces, and it's really cool, like it's kind of related. So I still like wanted to do something in fashion, so I decided to come to New York, move to New York and go to FIT for fashion styling and image consulting. And I did a whole certificate in both of those areas, and I started working in Fashion Week and during New York Fashion Week, and also at Elle magazine, and with different photographers, just assisting like for the photo shoots and doing like the concept for the look and everything, and I loved it, and I said, hey, this is what I always wanted to do, but I always wanted to do more. I always wanted to learn more, and I knew I could learn something extra. So I started to do some research on trends and how trends are created, how they become trends. Why do we wear the colors we wear? Why do we wear the clothes we wear? And I found out that there's this area called trend forecasting, the forecasting of trends. And I thought it was super interesting because it's not only fashion or design, but it's also kind of like the research part, the geeky part, the behind the scenes part, and I loved it. And I found this program, this master's in Florence, Italy, in Polimoda. It's a really great school of fashion, one of the best. So I moved to Italy to do my master's in trend forecasting, and it was the best thing I could ever done. I learned so much. That's when I figured out, wow, this is all related: fashion, design, architecture, all the things that I always loved. Is how trends get built and how they are created. So I learned that year was one of my aha moments, and I realized I love interiors, I love spaces, I love architecture, and that my passion for fashion, sorry for the, you know, my passion for fashion, it was for the interiors, for creating in spaces. So I came back to New York. I decided to go ahead and start my own firm. I took the risk. You know, let's do it. And I started to work in different projects, different contacts that I had from the fashion industry where I worked, and they started giving me opportunities, and one thing led to another. I ended up at Bellworks. I was referred to the project, and I started working with the developer and the team at Somerset Development to create this amazing Metro Burb 6 years ago, and I've been involved in the project since the beginning, which is something that makes me very proud, just being like the person who created the interiors, but also being part of the brand. And I'm the creative director, which means I'm in charge of everything that is aesthetics, the vision, the visuals, everything that you see on marketing, on public relations. I lead all the teams, and that makes me really happy because it's kind of like connecting the dots of what trend forecasting is, which is what I went to school for. So yeah, so that's kind of like my career path, and now I'm working with other clients as well. We're doing Bellworks Chicagoland, which is great. It's also a huge project. It's also 1.6 million square feet of space, so I have this new challenge, which is, it's a great thing to have as a designer, as a person who loves these trends and stuff like that. So I'm working on that, and yeah, I'm keeping busy. My typical workday is, there's no typical workday, first of all. Every day is very different. As a designer and a creative director, I have many hats that I have to wear. Also, I'm a business owner, so I have to take care of the part of my business, and something that I've been learning to do for the past 7 years. When you open a business, sometimes in the design industry, when you go to school for design, they don't teach you the business part, and this is a very important part of the business, something that you have to be very organized, very strict about it, and I love it. I happen to love that part. I love working on that part, but also my typical days, coming to my studio, catching up with my team. I have 2 divisions on my team. I have the marketing area, the creative direction area of my team, but I also have a design area, so I try to catch up with both, talk about the projects we're working on, and just making sure that we're on top of everything. The opportunities that NPZ offers is a mentorship program. I love working with people who are eager to learn, especially to bring new, fresh ideas. I have interior designers who have worked with me from Brookdale. I have marketing coordinator. Actually, my head of marketing went to Brookdale. Also, my interior design assistant, she also graduated from Brookdale. So I mean, we have different opportunities. We start with a mentorship program because that's how we all start. I did many internships in my day, actually until almost before I opened my company, I did internships. So I think internships are super important. If you know someone that you admire, that a designer or someone, you have to intern from them, you have to learn from them, you have to shadow them, you have to see how they do things. That's the only way to find yourself in your own path. When I'm looking into a new candidate for my internship program, I look into their skills and everything, but I also like to feel their attitude. I like to invite them to my studio, talk to them, see how their demeanor is very important, their positivism, their willingness to learn. This is very important in the workforce right now, because you can know so many things, but if you don't have the right attitude, you can't survive. So I think it's very important for me to see the willingness, the let's do this attitude, roll up your sleeves and let's work on it. I love that. I think especially when you are an intern or when you're starting your career, you have to be like a sponge. You have to absorb everything. You have to kind of like be willing to do all the little jobs, because that's how you start to see what you love to do. Before, when I did my internships, I did internships in PR, in marketing, in fashion, in everything, in event planning. I did all of these things because I knew I liked a little bit of everything, but I wasn't sure what exactly. So I think as an intern, you have to have that attitude. It's very important. And of course, the skills and the ability of saying, hey, I want to learn something new. Maybe I don't know how to do graphic design, but I'm going to learn, I'm going to take this class, or maybe this is my idea. So it's like the willingness to learn. That's important.